And we're back, guys. Summer Game Fest has concluded. Unfortunately, no Resident Evil announcement, Mir. Makes me very salty. But we got more Bison news because there's actually a playable demo of M.Bison, and a bunch of content creators like Justin, Rufo, and Max got some more information for us to talk about. And I also want to talk about some of the weird story stuff too, Mir, that's been arising through these interviews.
Secret lore.
Yeah, and I know you wanted to talk about it a lot too during our breakdown of M.Bison as well. So yeah, let's start with the gameplay stuff first, right? Because this information is pretty important. This is going to be a little awkward, but before we talk about Bison, there's two small things we noticed from the footage, Mir, that Capcom is adding like a quality of life thing. The first thing is when you have yellow health or when you have CA, you're level 3, your bar is going to, it like flickers. It's just a way so that when you have CA, you don't have to look up and down. Oh, I have yellow health and I have level 3. Your eyes just gonna look at the health bar.
Yeah,
it pulses things.
Flash yellow, pulse yellow.
Yeah.
It's another one.
And another thing too is when you're in burnout, Mirror, it kind of seems like the burnout bar is I don't know, darker or brighter. It's easier to see, like has like an outline or something, like a shadow.
Yeah, it's filled in closer to when it's full, so it's easier to tell when you're about to get out of burnout, basically.
Yeah.
Or at least I presume that's the intent. So it's just some quality of life stuff, basically.
Just in time for Bison, Mirror, because you're gonna be putting burnout a lot. Okay, let's talk about Bison, man. So the first thing and that we should talk about is the movement speed. Now we have an idea of his movement speed, and damn, bro, he looks fast. His forward walk speed, especially. Rufo did like a comparison to a Kuka, and they were like almost side by side. It's not like his forward walk speed. It looks really good, and I'm really happy about that because that was one of the most jarring changes to Street Fighter V Bison was you're supposed to dash more instead of walk. But now with that movement speed plus charge character, that puts him in a really good spot. His back walk speed doesn't look the best, but we saw that new heavy punch, Mir. How he like that Luke moves forward heavy punch. I don't know. What do you think? I'm happy about this kind of fast.
I would say that, well, I mean, it's always nicer to play characters with good movement speed, and I guess in a game where there's no proximity block, or at least it's very limited to certain moves and stuff.
Yeah,
it's gonna be very convenient for with punishment and everything. And we saw in the trailer that they made a point to show that you can whiff punish with Bison, right? Like they really were like, hey guys,
footsies are back.
You should actually play neutral for once.
But no one is. No one's gonna play neutral anyways, Mir. So it doesn't matter if they show us or not.
Well, and then they're not gonna win Evo. You know what I'm saying? So
true.
As you mentioned in Street Fighter 4, he walked quite fast. It's just Street Fighter 5 where he's very slow.
Oh yeah, and CVS 2 Bison was crazy, man. And now remember, like, Bison had good buttons in Street Fighter 5, but now he has good buttons and the forward movement speed, and that's very powerful for this character, which I'm happy about. Plus, you know, the hybrid, of course. Yeah,
I was very surprised. When I saw him walk forward, I thought he had, like, Ryu speed, but I guess it's because he's so large, and his stance is very wide, right? Because he's got this classic stance, and there was Bison versus Bison in some of the footage that I had seen, and he didn't look that fast, but with the comparison on screen, I mean, it's hard to deny that he's zooming.
Yeah.
And the drive rush is zooming too.
Oh, yeah. The drive rush. So let's talk about the inputs now, because we have the entire command list revealed for us. And nothing out of the ordinary except for one huge thing. And that is knee press or scissor kicks. It's confirmed that it is no longer a charge move. It's core circle forward kick, which is nuts for Bison. It's not a big surprise because they warned us that Bison would be a hybrid character, but for a Bison player, you would be like, wow, this is so powerful. Now I can walk forward and always be able to pressure and convert into knee press as one of his core moves. But you know what? The interesting thing here is I'm seeing actually a lot of comments from a lot of OG Bison players that actually don't like this. It ruins the authenticity of the character. How do you feel about that, Mir? That charge players want the charge. They want that.
It's hard to say because on one end, I'm playing a character, like I am a Gao player, right?
Yeah.
I'm playing a character that basically Capcom will never change. That much I understand. So
yeah.
I don't think they'll ever make the Sonic Boom emotion. So I don't think I will ever truly understand what it means to have a charge move changed into a motion move, because just not gonna happen with Gallo specifically. But in the case of Bison, I guess the scissor kicks is just like one of those. It's like one of those things that you just get used to doing repeatedly, right? Like you do the charge move and you start buffering, and then you do your string, and then you do the charge move again. It just becomes almost muscle memory for the core Bison game plan, right? Like to see that changed, it's probably fairly jarring. But to me, this looks like is almost an excuse to nerf the move, because it's like when a move is a charge move, you have to make it good, at least in some aspects, because you have to justify the fact that it is a charge move. Right. So this to me looks also like a sneaky way to make it maybe more unsafe on block. We know that, for example, the OD version of the knee press is quite unsafe. You cannot just throw it out. I mean, compared to Street Fighter 5 where it was plus.
Yeah.
The difference is pretty noticeable.
Huge.
Of course, it launches in this game, so like
right.
the damage is also different. But another thing that was brought up was how there's no characters in Street Fighter 6 as of right now that have two charge moves on the same like direction, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because of modern controls, a lot of people say, right? Like you cannot do back forward and
yeah, that's true.
Attacks.
We got like Blanca and DJ. Like Blanca is rainbow balls of motion, and DJ his Sobot kick. So it's like they don't want two horizontal charge moves. It seems must because of the avatar stuff too, maybe.
Yeah, so that could be a reason as well.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it's just a combination of factors. And in general, like I said, I feel it gives a little bit more of a reason to use stuff like Psycho Crusher, for example, in combos. Because obviously Psycho Crusher, you need the charge for it, while the scissor kicks, you don't. Mm-hmm. So you can create combos that, maybe going into the scissor kicks, it's useful because it doesn't knock down and it leaves you a plus frames in their face, right? You can set up your shimmy or whatever, like pressure.
Yeah.
But then the Psycho Crusher obviously probably does more damage too and knocks down, especially from similar starters. If you can go into Psycho Crusher, maybe one of the light versions, you get a completely different situation. So it kind of like diversifies the moves a little bit, because in older games, it was a little bit difficult to combo into Psycho Crusher, so you ended up always comboing into the scissor kicks. Also, don't believe any version of the scissor kicks, aside from OD, I suppose, knock down, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
That's another difference, right? Because in Street Fighter 4, for example, it was a big part of Bison to get the knockdown from the scissor kicks and then pressure on your wake up, right? So
right.
It's just a major shift in how the character is played in general, because they are diversifying the moves more, right? And taking away some properties from a charge move to turn it into a motion move is fine, I think. Especially because now, to console all of those Bison players that are unhappy that it's a charge move, you can do stuff like walk forward, crouching medium punch into scissor kicks. I mean, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it is pretty crazy, man. It is. We're going to see how his game plan has changed because it's a motion input. So once again, besides that, all the rest of the special moves seems to be like what we expected. So Psycho Crusher, like we talked about before, is a charge back forward punch. His Shadow Rise, which is basically the new thing where he jumps towards you and you choose between Head Stomp or Devil's Reverse. That is a charge move, so it's charge down, up kick. And then you can press punch for the Devil's Reverse follow-up, or you can press kick for the Head Stomp. By the way, the Head Stomp is really weird. Because it goes straight down, seeing it actually like in a match, when we're watching the CPUs playing that, it looks kind of, I don't know, it doesn't look that good. Like, it takes a while, because before Bison would just, when you do the head stomp, he would just go straight towards you. But now he kind of stops a little bit in the air and goes down. The OD version, though, looks plus. Like, he goes straight through you and lands on the floor. He doesn't actually bounce off your head.
Yeah.
It's like kind of like Bison's V-Trigger 1 head stomp. And so that might be good to establish pressure. But I don't think, like, Bison players are going to be able to just easily spam head stomp. In Street Fighter 6.
One thing about Head Stomp and Devil Reverse is that in Street Fighter 6, they always autocorrect when you're on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
And even in the footage, I've seen the stomp, even when it didn't autocorrect, it had to be blocked cross-up, like as a hitbox on both sides.
Yeah.
So I think what they intend you to use it for is to create annoying situations, maybe even on your opponent's wake-up, where you're right above them, and you kind of like have to... you do a left-right, and they have to use parry, things like that. And then you can bait the parry if you're doing it as a setup. obviously it becomes difficult to anti-air both the stomp and the Devil Reverse because they have completely different timings, right? The stomp coming down immediately makes it a harder reaction.
You
if
can
are
screw it
trying
up
to
too,
anti-air.
Mir. Like you can head stomp too early and land in front of them like an idiot and get blown up now. So because you lose that tracking, I mean, I'm not saying it's gonna be bad, but it definitely is not as like mindless, as it was before. Now that it's like two separate moves, but I mean, we'll have to see, right? We'll have to see about that.
Yeah, I suppose so. To me, it doesn't seem like it's. How can I put this? The function might be slightly different because of this lack of homing, like you're mentioning.
Yeah.
But the properties of the move itself seem pretty useful for Bison's game plan, especially if you're because you probably can use this in cancels, right? So you can, I'm sure, create situations where you go into a Shadow Rise and then kind of like force a mix-up in a block string, right? Especially in Burnout. Imagine having to block the left, right, and Burnout, and then he's probably plus in your face.
Yeah, that's true.
Or you have to deal with the Somersault Skull Diver and you don't have anything that it's invulnerable. It could be pretty rough. So like,
Yeah,
obviously his game plan is balanced around both normal and Burnout situations.
So once again, what is it called again? The back fist combo, Mirror, where he plants the
combo, yeah.
back fist combo. It's taking so long to get used to that.
Psycho back fist. That's what I'm gonna call
back fist. So yeah, that's a motion. It's a core circle back punch, I believe. So as expected. So once again, Mirror, we got basically 2 motion moves, 2 charge moves. And so Bison will have a lot of good options if you want to play the kind of non-charge Bison where you're walking back and forth and whip punishing. You'll always have something available to you if you confirm from lights or whatever with Bison. So that's really interesting. As for his command normals and target combos, so his overhead is a forward heavy punch, and it is confirmed to be an overhead where he goes, replaces cycle axe. Yeah, boom, and then you can juggle into it too, which is really cool. His slide, so the sweep, the rich girl sweep, Mirror, it's confirmed that's his actual sweep, so it's down heavy kick. And the Bison slide we all know and love is down forward heavy kick now. So that will be different, yeah.
That's pretty interesting because it means you lose back charge, right?
True, yeah. I
don't know how much that matters. I do remember Bison players sometimes using it kind of like a getaway of getting in while maintaining charge, kind of like a very scuffed bazooka knee, But it's a long recovery because it's a heavy. So maybe even in Street Fighter 6, you will be able to get your charge back anyway.
Right.
Even if it is a down forward input.
Right.
And even then, it's probably just... I mean, again, it's just a shift in paradigm for the way they designed the character. I probably want you to use, your normal sweep. More like a traditional sweep again. Even in the trailer they show with punishment with it and stuff. So, like, they probably wanted to avoid any strange input in case any other person that's coming from other characters wants to try him out.
Yep. So the last command normal is Bison's back heavy kick. This is his old Street Fighter V heavy kick. So now we know that's the command normal this time around. And based on the footage, it seems like, I would say, +1 on block. It's definitely plus a tiny bit. So that's good. I mean, not +3 like Street Fighter V, but it's plus. So yeah, that's it for command rolls. As for his 2 target combos, Mirror, the one that goes medium punch into overhead, that is medium punch forward heavy punch, no surprise. And then when he goes medium punch into low, that's actually a crouching heavy kick. Medium punch, crouching heavy kick. Interesting.
Yeah, I was quite surprised by that. I didn't think it looked like a heavy, but I suppose it does.
Yeah, that's really good. So I'm suspecting it's going to be minus, but with the Psycho Mine, of course, you can probably make it safe. So cool.
Yeah, honestly, it almost looked like it would be minus on hit, but I thought that they would do that in Street Fighter. It probably is a little bit plus. Just nothing that you can get a combo after or anything like that.
Right. Okay, so the next big one, besides the knee press being a motion, Mirror, this really surprised me. It turns out all 3 of Bison's supers are all motions. That is nuts. So his knee press Nightmare is a double core circle forward kick. His level 2 is a double core circle back kick. And his level 3 is a double core circle forward punch. The main one I'm looking at, Mirror, is that level 2, man. That is an anti-projectile move, and I suspected it would be a charge just like, Honda. But it's not. It's straight up motion, man. How do you feel about that? Like, that seems so powerful that Bison can hone down on you.
I was surprised by that as well. I was for sure thinking it would be a charge. I was thinking about what kind of charge it would have been. Because if I remember correctly, in Street Fighter 4, it required down charge. Which I guess would have been a little bit awkward. But even if they made it a back charge, I think it would have been absolutely warranted. But I suppose it must have some weakness then.
Or not.
It's yeah, or maybe it's just the best level 2 in the game.
Yeah, maybe it's just the best loop in the game.
It's interesting because you can combo into it from situations where your opponents bounce on the ground, right?
Yeah.
So it does have combo potential. Maybe it's not as easy from straight normal into super, like normal into level 2. That could be maybe harder. So maybe that's how it is balanced. But we know we can steer it with back and forward, right? So it's also just like his Ultra 2. So I really don't know. Maybe it's not as fast when it's full screen. You know, like it actually
full
takes time to travel and travel full screen.
Projectile.
It's pretty strong. Maybe the Yoki is bad. Who knows?
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, that seems like, once again, Bison seems very like anti-projectile kind of character. So that's just makes it even better now that we know the level 2 is not a charge. Another thing too is if he did have a charge like level 1 mirror, I was concerned because like Guile has an issue with that when dealing with DI. You know. Constantly having the buffer the charge, but nope. So once again, Bison will be able to freely convert from combos and not have to worry about charge a lot of the times. And if there's anyone who's like watching this that like thinks Bison's a cool character and wants to learn Bison, but you're a little concerned about learning a charge character for the first time, I think it won't be that bad at all. Now that we know that a core move like knee press and his supers are all motion, I think learning Bison won't be as rough if you're not familiar with charge characters. So that's good for a lot of people.
I'll make the cancels easier too. I know you can cancel the first hit of knee press into supers.
Okay.
Not the second one, apparently, just the first one. So if it had been, you know, charge into motion or motion into charge, that probably would have been a little bit
definitely a learning curve for that, right?
Yeah, but now it's just motion into motion. It's just a very traditional cancel into super, so they probably thought of that as well.
Yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing, Mir. So yeah, Bison's strengths so far, just looking at the you know, the limited footage we have, like his mix-ups and pressure look through the roof because of the Psycho Mine. We now know he's a fully hybrid charge, so like I said, he could be appealing for all types of players. His normals look excellent, and tied with, we now know his forward walk speed is very powerful. That's going to really help the character a lot. And like I said, his anti-projectile moves look very strong. And his drive rush, we talked about it a lot on the breakdown. He looks, I would not be surprised. Dude, it's crazy. Prepare. So yeah, Bison, I think he's going to be really strong out of the gate just from the limited footage we have. Very excited. But look, also I wanted to think about his weaknesses too, Mir, because you know we don't want to just pump his tires. But the weaknesses, I mean, his crouching heavy punch still looks a little sus, where it might not stop cross-ups well. It won't work all the time. It doesn't look as bad as like Maurice's crouching heavy punch, but it's not the best. He doesn't have like an invincible uppercut, and it's not invincible anti-air. Yeah,
that's one thing that's nice, is that it appears to be crouching the entire time.
Yeah.
So that would give him some evasion. I'm not sure if it's anything like JP's crouching heavy punch used to be, where he has a little bit of invulnerability. But it seems fairly effective. Like you said, it's just slow, and it could have some, you know, the limited hitbox ranges. Where it actually hits in the air. So yeah, that is definitely a concern, but that is part of the course for Bison. It makes sense that a character so dominant on the ground would have a little bit of trouble anti-airing, because it's basically a way for Capcom to make it so that the Bison player has to relinquish some of the offense to deal with jumps. Right? You cannot be doing stuff and anti-air at the same time. Vega Claw also had the same design feature, I guess. It's just a thing that they do. So that I was expecting for sure. But the thing that surprises me, or something that we haven't still figured out, I guess, based on the footage, because people weren't really, you know, looking at
didn't have training mode enough time.
Yeah, exactly. Is I still wonder if he actually has, you know, good 4-frame buttons for interrupting your opponent, right? Because I theorized last time we made a video that his only 4-frame button was his crouching light kick, because they show it being used in combos in situations where you get counter hits and stuff. And obviously that would be a weakness, because then you cannot cancel that crouching light kick. You have to link into or chain into your other lights. So that would limit your defensive potential. And I guess we didn't get the confirmation on that. So.
Right. In Justin's footage, he was like talking about how it took a while to understand his combo structure. So I wouldn't be surprised, Mir, if his lights are a little unorthodox, because you see the CPU trying to chain a lot into the standing light punch. So it could be something weird like that, where either it's crouching light kick or standing light kick are the 4-framers. So, well, that's probably one of the first things I'm going to test with him. And as for his heavies, his standing heavy kick, the one that's like more like the Street Fighter 4 one, that's the one you want to link into like a medium after. Whereas his back heavy kick, it looks more limited where you can link. It's more of a pressure button now. So yeah, but he can still do heavy into heavy from his drive rush to cash out. But yeah, that will be a little unorthodox, and that might be also one of the reasons too, Mir, like you said, the knee press being a motion now might have something to do with that too.
Well, of course, the cycle mine is a big deal for Bison's pressure and combo potential, because even things that normally don't combo into anything, like maybe his overhead and stuff like that, if they are timed correctly with the explosion of the mine, obviously lead you to be able to pick up with super or whatever, right? So there's definitely a lot of kind of like combo setup stuff that players that really want to develop their M.Bison will have to learn,
Right.
Like you do a combo that is a certain length, and the perfect setup so that if the next combo hits, then the explosion gives you, a follow-up. And if it doesn't hit, you know when to interrupt or continue your pressure and stuff.
Oh, I'm sure this Psycho Mine's also going to screw up some Bison players too. It's going to go off at the worst time and make a drop a combo and then the tilt, right? It's definitely...
Yeah, learning experience.
Yeah, it's going to happen, man. So, Bison players, you got to lab it up hard. Last part of weaknesses I want to mention too, Mir. It doesn't seem like he has a reversal, but I didn't confirm if the OD Shadow Rise has some type of invulnerability on the way up. His backwalk speed is slow, we already mentioned, and his combos seem quite short. They're not like big, long, flashy combos outside of the Psycho Mine detonations.
Right.
But it seems like his design is more of pressure. He's about pressuring you and sticking to you like glue. He's not really about big, fancy combos. So
I'm sure we'll see like all kinds of crazy combos once people figure out the Psycho Mine, right? Because obviously that is exactly what we were just saying.
Oh, right? The Twitter tech is going to be nuts.
It's going to be about like setting up different situations where you can get the best combo. I think it makes sense though. And then the back fist combo itself, the special move, does very little damage. Looking at the footage, it actually does really pathetic damage, but obviously it sets up the mine. So
right. That's true.
It's a pretty big gamble if you don't know the setups, but I'm sure that once you do, there's going to be plenty of ways of guaranteeing offense and stuff. And obviously the explosion of the mine damages the drive gauge on defense as well. So like if they're not pairing, because maybe they're stuck blocking something else that they didn't think to parry, then that also affects the pressure.
Right.
I think in general, I would say that because of the opportunity to convert into more pressure from opportunities that you get in neutral, right, thanks to your movement speed and stuff, he probably is gonna be fine in the current meta of Street Fighter 6, where you really want to push your opponents in the corner and like use drive rush and stuff, right? Like use your resources to maintain this offense. He seems like really well suited for that. So
don't forget Hell Attack, man. Hell Attack looks nuts. The conversions he gets when he gets drive rush into his target combo overhead, and that has really good corner carry as well. So I'm excited. I'm sure even the in-game tutorial mirror is going to show a couple of sample setups for people to get started with for the Psycho Mine. But if the back fist combo is doing low damage, that means Capcom knows that the follow-up is very strong. So it's probably tuning that.
I mentioned when we did the first breakdown video of how, for example, the Devil Reverse makes the mine explode, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking, well, it doesn't look like you get any follow-up, and it must do a lot of damage, right? And based on the footage that we've seen, it does do a lot of damage.
Was you talking about that Zangief part, a clip? There's that part where he hit Zangief with the level 3. It did so much damage, Mir. It was like 60+%. Bro, after that Psycho Mine detonated, it was nuts.
Well, yeah, I was gonna get to that. I was like, it does do a lot of damage, and you also get a follow up.
And you also get a follow-up.
Yeah, especially the OD version. Like if OD Devil Reverse hits you when you have a mine, it's like it looks alone just that 3,000 damage. Like it's straight up. It does so much.
You gotta be careful.
It will be, it'll be scary when you got
Mm-hmm.
a mine on you. It'll definitely force you on defense, and you're gonna have to get clever with ways of interrupting Bison. As we know, hitting Bison gets rid of the mine, right? So sometimes even just
That's what he
poking
wants
him.
you to do, Mir. That's the trap.
No, well, I mean exactly. That's exactly how he's built, right? And then he hits you with
Yeah.
back heavy kick and you explode.
Mhm. So exciting, dude. I can't wait. Okay, Mir, let's talk about Bison himself. Let's talk about the story stuff. This is really gonna get really weird. Let's first talk about okay. So Nagi went to an interview and he confirmed, Mir, get this, that the Bison that we see in Street Fighter 6 is actually the same Bison in Street Fighter 5. It's the same body. And he's like, yeah,
Right.
the cracks on his face and that, it was just, after Ryu blasted him. And I went straight back to the Street Fighter 5 story mode, Mirror, to see that cutscene. And
I mean, it does blow up.
dude, it's retcon. It's retcon. He is deteriorating right behind Fang. There is no doubt about it. I don't know what Capcom was thinking. Like, Nakagawa's just saying it so, like, casual, like, oh, yeah.
Oscar, you have to understand, he was taking a nap, okay? He just took a very long nap. But
Bro,
no, I mean, I think
It's retcon.
as far as Bison is concerned, and I guess at this point it's sort of the status quo of the series,
Yeah.
is that he is pretty much unkillable, right? Whatever it is that keeps him alive, which we're going to assume is psycho power,
Yeah.
just prevents him from dying in one way or another. I mean, wasn't his body destroyed in Alpha as well?
But, like, that, I
And
mean,
obviously he's back in Street
but
Fighter 2.
he
so-
takes over other bodies. It transfers to other sources. So for them to say this is the same body, I mean, I don't know, man. It's just really. I mean, I get it's a fighting
Maybe
game
he's getting
story.
better
I'm
at
supposed to
creating
take it
bodies that
seriously.
don't suck. You know what I mean?
Yeah, man. Dude, people are like trying to like explain it. Like the fans are trying to make sense of it too. Like they're coping. They're like, oh yeah, Ryu didn't want to kill him because he uses the power of nothingness but dude, no. Okay, Bison
Well,
deteriorated. Right?
Maybe the power of nothingness is why he's amnesiac now. Deleted
Okay.
his memory.
Right, so it's the same body, but Bison has amnesia, and it mentions that he's drawn to psycho power. And on the website description, it says, a man who resembles M.Bison, the leader of Shadowloo, who was believed to be dead. He has lost his memories, but has violent tendencies. He appears in locations related to Shadowloo, guided by psycho power. So he is drawn to it, and it looks like his story is going to be something along the lines of him trying to get back his memory and be,
Right.
full power or whatever, right? We even see his hair is still white, Mirror, which is like another hint to it. And he is actually being hunted down. Like if you play the World Tour story, spoilers, he's being like hunted down by many different sources as well. There's also a JP quote too, Mirror, in World Tour that you were talking to me about the other day, or where JP is talking about how psycho power drives him.
Yeah, it's basically the implication, not even so subtle implication, is that when you seek power, seek the psycho power, it kind of like makes you even more power hungry, right? So considering that Bison, as far as story is concerned, is basically psycho power incarnate, then it makes sense that at this point he's kind of like almost has been taken over by the psycho power, you know, like he's just trying to get more and more powerful, even in his current state where he's basically trying to reconnect with his old memories.
Bison's so sick.
That is obviously a priority of his, and we see in the trailer that he is in the Ruin the Shadowloo lab, and he fists that big face.
Oh, dude, yeah, he smashes it on the Summer Game Fest trailer, and I was like, "What is happening?" I like he says something too, and then people, what does he say, Mir?
The machine or whatever that is says inconceivable.
Inconceivable, and he smashes it. And then if people are bringing up that like if you go through that footage very slowly, you can see screenshots of like Street Fighter.
Yeah, there's
2.
like little. They almost look like CRT TVs, like cutouts, I guess, of
Dude,
Street
so
Fighter 2 and
random.
stuff. And I guess the implication then is that he's kind of like sort of getting back some of his memories by doing that.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. How he got bought by Akuma. in Street Fighter 2. Dude, that would be cool. And then he crosses his arms and he does a pose and he's like, "What? I'm back." It seems like it's like, "I'm back and I remember who I am." And he's ready to restore Shalu to its former glory.
Yeah, because before that, right? Again, in the trailer itself, he's totally not aware of who he is, right? He says, "Oh, you say that I resemble a man called Bison. I will take this name for myself," right? Like,
That's cool. Yeah. It's sick.
It's like, I like this name. That's a good one.
But how do you think Bison looks, man? We didn't have a chance to talk about, dude. He's straight up
Right,
artist.
so, like,
he's
unfortunately,
artist.
yeah, I was gonna say I don't have it here because it's at my other house. But
Yeah.
if I had the cover of Warcraft 3: The Frozen Throne,
Bro.
it'd be just M.Bison right there.
That is straight up M.Bison. That is straight. Dude, I'm seeing the Darksiders references as well, Mir.
Right,
Which
yeah,
character
looks
is he
like
again?
War from Darksiders. Yeah.
And he's got the same horse, right?
Well, I mean, he's got a horse. A war
Dude, it's the
bride.
same horse, Mir.
I forget what the horse's name is. Bruin?
I don't know. The
believe.
chat's gonna know for sure.
Yeah, but no, absolutely. He definitely has this this very kind of like edgy look, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And in general, even the fact that he's not using his the full potential of Psycho Power because maybe he forgot some of the things, right? And
Yeah.
he's using an incomplete version that is different color, right? It resembles Soul Power quite a bit. It's that blue.
Oh, we're talking about the
sheen
different colors of him?
Purple. No, I mean like his Psycho Power, like his hands, right? His moves and stuff.
Well, he's like talking to his hands and stuff too, Mir.
Well, it seems to me that he's trying to maintain control. Right? Like Psycho Power, I think the way it is described in the lore is that it's basically the evil version of Soul Power, right? Or at least Soul Rose describes it. And it is implied to be much more powerful, kind of like the Satsui no Hado, right? It's a way of controlling ki.
Okay.
Because that's a big deal that they make in the Street Fighter universe. However, it is much more destructive, but it also corrupts you, right? And I guess that's what they're showing with M.Bison is that he's kind of like struggling to maintain the Psycho Power under control because in this case it's limited to his arm and his hand that he used to punch that big face, right?
Yeah.
But he's kind of like trying to wrestle it into submission almost, right? And we see even in one of Ed's win poses, right, where he just goes nuts. Like his
I thought he was just really
starts
happy.
going purple and he goes crazy because it's probably the same thing, right? Like they use Psycho
He
Power.
saw the new level
and they
2
don't
setups,
use-
Mir.
Sorry?
He saw the new level 2 setups.
Yeah, so he did. No, but like it's probably the same thing. Like even though Ed tries to use Psycho Power for good, right? Like he's
Yeah.
not evil.
Yeah.
The Psycho Power ultimately does corrupt him, and he has to control himself. So maybe that's also why he's a little bit of a, rude to people. Maybe the Psycho Power is doing that.
It's
to
the
him.
dark side, bro. That's all you need to know. It's the dark side. That's what Psycho Power is.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, in a way it is.
Sorry?
No, I said in a way it is.
Yeah,
because
in a
of,
way it is.
The juxtaposition with Soul Power.
Mm-hmm. So in the interviews, Nakion also mentioned that they want to talk more about this horse because we see the horse on the VS screen, we see it like on the win pose, we see it during like the character selection screen as well. It's everywhere. This horse, and he mentions that there's gonna be some story significance to this horse. So it's a big deal. Horse even has a name as well. So. Yeah, man, it's not just a live action movie reference. It's a thing.
Yeah, I was thinking that this is one of the many Fist of the North Star references that they keep doing in Street Fighter games.
Who,
there's
Raoh,
plenty.
or what?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and his horse, the Black King Kokul. So,
Bro.
like, I'm curious if this is it. I mean, obviously, Raoh doesn't ride around.
No.
with his arms.
No,
crossed
Bison's
like
very
Bison does.
talented.
Yeah, but I'm curious. I mean, even some of his moves, they're definitely reminiscent. So I wonder if they're gonna take a hint, or not take a hint, but take inspiration from the story of that like anime and manga as well. I'm curious.
Here,
It's been extraordinarily influential in Japan. So
I'm reading some crazy theories on this horse. Okay, like I'm hearing things that like Bison is the horse, and the horse is controlling the body.
that'd be
That's a puppet.
really
Bison's a
funny.
puppet
I
character
mean,
confirmed.
to be fair, the Street Fighter blurb thing on their website
Yeah,
very conspicuously says a man who resembles M.Bison.
bro, that's what I'm saying,
They don't
man.
actually say that it is him.
There might be
so
a
who
huge
knows?
twist, and when he's talking to his arm and stuff, like maybe he's talking to the body. I don't know, man. It is
Right,
There's
like
some wild theories.
that the arm is basically M. Bison's old soul, but
Yeah.
it's like struggling to maintain control of the body in a way or another. And I guess this ties in pretty neatly with another thing that the developer said, which is JP is still the big bad for Street Fighter 6, is not M. Bison. And I guess the idea is that M. Bison is kind of like a villain in the making.
Yeah.
Right, is not quite there yet, and maybe that will happen later in the lifetime of Street Fighter 6,
Like,
or
or maybe,
they will save
yeah,
that
Street
for
Fighter 7.
Yeah.
The thing is, man, I
so
kind of roll my eyes to that, though. I mean, like I said, I'm not trying to be I just the thing is like Luke is supposed to be the poster boy, the main character of Street Fighter 6, and if you play through World Tour, it just doesn't seem like that. It's very like he leads into the beginning of World Tour story wise with the comics and such, but really it seems like Ed is the main character right now. He's got a lot of story significance. And and you know, Bison seems to have a lot of significance too. JP is just on the sidelines. But yeah, maybe you're right. Maybe when we see if we have a World Tour expansion, they'll dive into it a little deeper. There's a lot of things going on, like with Shadowloo in general in the story.
I fully expect them to develop this somehow, because obviously in the past I've talked about the famous Shadowloo Island DLC, right?
Yep.
Where we finally get the expansion for World Tour, and we get to Shadowloo Island, and we got all the Shadowloo characters. Obviously, we didn't get a season of all Shadowloo characters, unless Terry and Mai have been recruited. Who knows? But the thing that I fully expect them to do at some point, at least, is that all these individual factions that are trying to be, they're after M. Bison. Eventually, they will clash in one way or another, and we will be involved in World Tour.
It's a little confusing.
And,
So
Bison himself, is going to be a main character of this. Ed on one hand with the Neo Shadowloo,
right,
and then whatever else. There's Aki and Fang.
Yeah.
On the other side, like all these characters are going to come together.
There's like
at some point,
three factions of Shadowloo split up together, right? Like Neo Shadowloo's trying to get all the other psycho extra bodies for Bison. And they're trying to find them all around the world and free them all. And then we have like the actual Shadowloo trying to find Bison so he can reclaim the throne. And then we have like Fang and Aki. They're kind of like have a side story right now where they're spying on everyone, but they're kind of like JP. They're behind the scenes, and Fang is obviously looking for Bison. And we saw a little bit of that story too before we even knew about Aki back in Street Fighter 5, where Capcom had some comics with that as well. So I guess the point is that Bison is not at full power. He has amnesia. He's not at full power, and so whether we hear a lot about him in the story or not, JP is still the top dog. I guess that's like the point.
Yeah, I mean, in general, I think this sets up nicely to also have an event in the future with Super Bison or Awakened Bison or whatever, kind of like how they had the certain Akuma when Akuma was released, where you have a Bison that has unleashed his psycho power, and then he has like all sorts of cool moves.
Yeah.
So this is also neat for kind of like a content perspective, right?
Right. So also for his design, Nakayama mentioned that Bison's teleport is gone. He can't even teleport. So I'm talking about like story wise and gameplay wise. And he mentioned that it'll explain it more in the story as well. So that's just more to like, it's not just Bison's memory, it's his power as well. He's not fully up to speed. So that's really interesting, and it also gives him a way to kind of make his gameplay just a little bit different than what we remember and change him, which I like. Oh, by the way, did you hear Bison's music theme, Mir?
I did hear Bison's music theme.
And
I'm told you're a fan.
Bro. At first, I was like, because, Street Fighter 6 music, I'm just like, yeah, it's okay. But I don't know. I was like editing some video stuff, and then I had it playing, and something about those trumpets, man. Once those trumpets started going, my shoulders, it was bumping. Like it started getting bumping, and I'm feeling it. Maybe I'm just turbo biased because I know I'm gonna go hard and main Bison, but dude, like, that theme is good. I forced my chat to listen to it for like a couple of minutes.
I could see it though. In general, obviously, the game has been out for a while, and I'm sure that Capcom and everyone that's on the music team has seen the criticism. So there could be a shift coming in the future where the themes are gonna be a little bit more
remix it.
You know, like
get on it.
Like make him less like background themes, right? Because originally we had theorized that they were supposed to be background music, especially because there's commentary as well.
Yeah.
In general, they just took this different direction, but maybe now that they've heard people's opinions, they're gonna make them a little bit more involved. And like you said, maybe they're gonna remix some of the old ones as well, and make them available in game. That would be cool. That'd be very fun.
His animations look fantastic too, by the way. Like it's a really nice touch. Like we talked about a million times. Like just the different.
Well, there's people that don't like his drive rush animation. They say that it looks out of character. I think it looks hilarious. I don't know what you guys.
He can't teleport, man. He's gotta run like everyone else. What do you guys want him to do? Cross his arms and float towards you? He can't do that right now, guys. He's not at full power. He will be in the future, but dude, Bison's fast, man.
Bison's drive rush when he is at full power, I can't imagine what it will be. It'll just teleport instantly next to you. For full screen.
Nakayama said they want Bison to be portrayed more of a fighter and less using psychic techniques, and that's just one of the examples of it. I mean, dude, that drive rush is amazing. Don't you dare talk smack about it. And dude, you still see a lot of psycho power. Like we talked about a million times, dude. The different colors of like the ghostly, ghastly kind of green, and then the soul power and that, man, it looks great, dude. I really like his design, both his costumes. Even though I might play Milkman Bison for his costume.
I mean, another thing that we had mentioned before, but it's worth bringing up again, is how there's an emphasis on the fact that the psycho power is sort of limited to that one arm of his. So how his back fist combo has different animations based on which side of the screen you are. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it's cool. Little a shadow of Gil from Street Fighter V, where he's animated differently based on the side.
The wind pose
There's
too
other
changes.
examples like JP, when he switches sides, if you let the animation rock, like if someone jumps over you, if you let the animation rock, you see that JP, when he's switching sides, he switches hands for his cane.
Oh.
So like it's not, like they don't flip over and just mirror the character.
Yeah.
They actually have put the extra effort to, like try and make it have some sense.
Yeah. Really good.
So that's cool. I mean, and I hope
it.
other characters in the future are like this too.
I like it a lot. It's sick. Okay, so the big question here, Amir, the giant bomb at the end is, did Capcom bring back Bison too soon? Is the story ruined now? What about Nash?
The story is ruined. I mean, Nash is a victim of war twice.
Nakayama confirmed me that they had Bison planned to come back to Street Fighter 6 from the beginning. Like, it's not because of the popularity or polls or anything. This was all planned. So, did they bring him back too soon, Mir? Like, honestly, in my opinion, dude, like, after seeing how he looks, after seeing the introduction of this horse, the Arthas, and how he plays and how it's lead up in the story, I think it's completely fine. I think Bison's so sick. Maybe it's too many villains, but we needed more villains, dude. I think it's good.
My theory, I guess, was that because they're only releasing 4 characters a year, right?
Yeah.
Bison feels like an addendum to Season 1. Like I said, he was supposed to be the 5th character for Season 1. And now there's a little bit of a break because we get Terry and Mai, which are kind of like the intermission.
Yeah.
And then we have Elena and the next set of characters that are going to come out for Season 3, right?
Right.
So I almost feel that Bison, they kind of like put him in here now. They planted the seed. And then they're going to expand the story with the next cycle of characters.
Dean.
And he's going to come into play then, right? Like, because we know, you mentioned it before in one of your videos, how Elena seems to have handled at least the horse, right? Like she's done something.
There was some healing, like someone was seen in Mexico reviving a horse, and we see pictures of Lilia the horse. There's a lot of significance with a horse going on right now. But I guess in that cutscene we saw she was like healing a hippo, a poor hippo.
So, maybe there's something there, right? Like maybe when Elena comes out and, the next set of characters announced, we will be able to put two and two together.
Right.
This is my current theory. I mean, I could be completely wrong. Maybe I'm just hoping, but
Yeah.
because Terry and Mai feel like they don't fit anywhere, right?
Yeah.
They're kind of like just there as filler, if you will. So
Mhm.
I would expect the next cycle of characters to be the meaningful one that then brings Bison and all the other characters that have been introduced so far into more significance with the story.
I think it should have been a different Bison body. That's my only beef. That's my only beef, man.
M.Bison.
It should have been some other body. That's my only thing. Like that, I don't know, man. I don't buy it. I still don't buy it, dude. Watch that cutscene, guys. You'll know what I'm talking about, man. I don't buy it. There's just no way. He disintegrated. I saw it with my own eyes, Mir. I saw it.
Oh yeah. I mean, with our own eyes, we also saw Fang fall into the nothingness, and he's back too. What happened with that
Fang
one?
can fly. He flaps like a bird. He can literally fly. So
And Bison cannot die, so not the solution.
bro, I am so excited. Bison is less than 2 weeks away, guys, and I suspect Capcom's going to release a guide video soon that might give us even more information on how the character will play. But yeah, dude, one character, 1 month apart. Very, very exciting. So, Mir, we still got a lot of discussions to do, man. We got to talk about the rest of the DLC characters, and
Absolutely.
we'll keep you guys all informed. But thanks for joining me, Mir, and hearing your thoughts on the fighting game story stuff and the gameplay. And we'll be back soon, guys, and let us know what you think. All right, let's wrap this up. Peace. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.